This grip might look like an ordinary grip or controller attachment for the Switch, but this might be the last accessory that you'll ever need. Hi there, welcome to my channel. I have one of the most interesting Nintendo Switch accessories that's ever been sent to me to unbox and show off for you all in this video. The people at NEXIGO sent over their GripCon, which seems like your ordinary Switch grip attachment, but this thing is feature packed, and as mentioned at the start, it might be the last thing you'll ever need for the Switch, especially on the go. Besides being an ergonomic grip, this thing has Hall effect analog sticks and an HDMI port, so it doubles as a Switch dock. So they sent over their purple translucent model and their black translucent model, so that is pretty sweet looking. Since they're the same item but different colors, I will focus on the purple model mainly because I grew up with the Nintendo 64 and we had the clear purple controller, so for nostalgia's sake we'll unbox and demo this one. Let's get pricing out of the way. Both colors can be found on Amazon for $69. Nice price. But as of the upload date for this video, they're 10% off, so they're about $62 today. Feel free to click that link down below to check them out. As a disclaimer though, if you choose to buy this through my Amazon affiliate account, there's potential that I'll receive a small commission. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I do. It all just depends on the product. Getting that info out of the way, here is the NEXIGO GripCon. Oh, and it comes with some analog stick covers. That's a nice little touch. So looking at them right now, they are going to be pretty small, so if you want more of a circumference on your analog sticks, you're going to want to put those on. But inside the box comes some documentation and a user manual, which I'll probably have to read off camera just to get a little bit more familiar with this, but it does cover the Switch and the Switch OLED. So if you're wondering that question, there it is answered. That quick start guide was bothering me, so I put it right side up. But first thing you have to do is turn on Pro Controller wired communication in the settings portion of the Nintendo Switch, and that is a nice soft padding on the back of it. I do have a very valuable skin on my Switch, so I do appreciate that. I'll show that off in a little bit. So the analog sticks are a bit small, so now I understand why they threw in those analog stick covers, but everything feels really nice on the NEXIGO GripCon itself. All of the buttons aren't too squishy and they're not so clicky, so they're that nice balance right in between. The thumbsticks feel nice and smooth as you rotate them. I appreciate a real D-pad on the left hand side. There are two additional buttons on the front, one's for settings to do the macro and back buttons, and turbo. And look at that kickstand. If you don't own an OLED model, the original Nintendo Switch kickstand is absolute trash, so I appreciate that. I mentioned that this thing is feature packed. There are back buttons and turbo, and the triggers and shoulders feel nice, but one side seems clickier than the other. Interesting. I'll test that out throughout the months to see if anything goes wrong with that, but so far they feel okay. At the top right here, you can see there's two extra game card slots, so if you don't want to bring a case, you can just store them right there. USB 3.0, HDMI, and the power supply. So rather than being on the bottom, it is on the top. Let me get my Switch prepped. Let me get these wonderful GameCube controller attachments off of my Switch. But as mentioned, I do have a very valuable Mewtwo skin on the back of my Switch. Apparently those things run for a lot of money on eBay nowadays. I got it from Walmart like in 2018 for like $10, but people are charging like triple digits for that particular skin, so I'm keeping that on my Switch forever. For anybody wondering how to do the Pro Controller communication thing, just go to Controller and Sensors on your Switch, and it can be found there. Pretty much it disables NFC, so you won't be able to use your amiibos with this thing, but what it does do, it identifies the GripCon as a Pro Controller attached via USB, because you plug this into that USB-C port at the bottom of the GripCon. So this is for anyone wondering why this setting has to be turned on. So I'm gonna move on and test out the controller itself to see if there's any defects and go through all the features. This includes mapping the back buttons, setting up turbo, and using the HDMI capabilities, and testing out that video switch button on the back. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna load up Fortnite, and then we're gonna get everything going and test out all the little features and trinkets of this wonderful controller. We will try out that USB 3.0 as well too by plugging in an Ethernet LAN adapter for the Switch, just to see if that works too. For anyone wondering, this video is sped up 2 to 3 times for time's sake, and I'll be quiet for this portion as I test out the face buttons, triggers, and analog sticks. If anything goes wrong, I'll jump back into the voiceover and address that. Everything works just fine, so let me move on to setting up the back buttons. All you have to do is press that button down below. It looks like a little cog. It's the settings button until that light flashes. So all you do after that is press whatever button or buttons, because this does support macro combos, and then set the back button of your choice. I'll just be setting one button to each side just for simplicity's sake, but one advantage this thing has in comparison to Hori Split Pad Pros or Joypads or whatever the brand is, you can set any of the buttons to either back button. So on split pads or anything like that, those sort of attachments, you're only able to set left side controller buttons with the left side, while the right side joypad or Joy-Con can only accommodate the right side. So that's another positive feature of the NEXIGO GRIPCON. While I was talking, I set the left back button to jump and the right back button to crouch on Fortnite, just because they're the two easiest to see on screen. Wish I could show you all the back angle, but I'm not that high tech yet when it comes to my camera setup, so here's me just trying to press the two back buttons the best that I can. Anyway, setting up the turbo is probably what a lot of y'all are here for, so all you do is press the T button and the button you want to set, which in this case I put ZR, which is the button for firing your weapon in Fortnite. If you press it one time, it is a manual turbo, so you have to press it down. I am using a DMR, so it's usually a one-shot fired weapon, so if you do it twice, it fully becomes automatic, hands-free automatic, and that's how that's set. You do it again a third time, and that's how you turn it off. You can set that to pretty much any face button or trigger on the GRIPCON. So my favorite weapon in Fortnite, which is not in this current chapter or season, is the explosive repeater. And you can set that as well too, and pretty much you can turn any semi-auto weapon into a fully auto weapon, and I advise you not to do that in competitive play because that is just dirty and you don't want to be that person. Lastly, here's a bow, which doesn't work too well because you can't cock it back all the way. Alright, now it's time for the main event, or what I think is the main event, one of the coolest features that I've ever seen on one of these grips, to be able to use it as a Nintendo Switch dock. So let me use that kickstand and put it to wonderful use so it keeps it nice and upright. Let me get everything set up at a good angle for everyone to see. My lighting setup isn't the greatest compared to maybe last year, so I'm making do with what I have, but let me unplug everything from my dock and plug it into the GRIPCON. We'll also be using the USB 3.0 port on the NEXIGO GRIPCON by using my LAN adapter. The HDMI cable and the Switch power supply will all be used as well too. And as a side note, you will have to use your Switch power supply in order for this to work, or something of equivalent power. Just a fair warning, the HDMI port is a little snug, so be careful when you insert your HDMI cable into the port, and the same goes for the USB 3.0 connection. Let me get my wide angle lens, and there it is. It is nice and connected. Everything is working. I'm just doing this to show off that you can still use the GRIPCON as a controller, but ideally you'd want to use another controller, or also be kind of uncomfortable unless you have really long cables. So the beginning part of this portion was sped up 2 times, and I switched it back to real time right now. This is how long it takes to get from the Switch to the TV via the NEXIGO GRIPCON. 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 9 to 10 seconds. So if you get one of these and you test it out for the first time, it is not broken. Give it at least 10 seconds for it to transfer over. Fortunately, there is a video switch button on the back, so if you want this to be your full-time Nintendo Switch dock, that is fully capable as well too. You can just switch it back and forth at the little press of a button on the back of it. It is a flawless output so far. I don't notice any screen tearing, I don't notice any lag, so it's just like you docking your Switch into the original Nintendo Switch dock. So I found that to be very cool. But here, let me test out the button for you just to show you all how long it takes. This is sped up 2 times, so it's going to go by a little bit faster, but there it is. Press a button, it switches over, press a button, and it's instant when it goes from TV back to NEXIGO GRIPCON. Also, for those wondering, you do need the power supply. Unplugged it and plugged it back in. Sped up again, so this should take 9 to 10 seconds for it to get back. Forgot to show this off. The USB 3.0 port does work. You can see the wired connection right there. Once again, this is the NEXIGO GRIPCON. Check it out by clicking the links down below and see it for yourself on Amazon. It's currently 10% off as of the upload date for this video, but it's normally $69, which is a nice price all on its own. I firmly believe that this could be the last Nintendo Switch accessory that a person would need. It's a pro controller grip, has back buttons, turbo, didn't even show off the motion controls, but it has that too. It also has Hall effect analog sticks, HDMI out, so it's your Nintendo Switch dock too, a wonderful kickstand, and the best feature of them all are these 2 game card slot holders. I'm sold. Anyway, check out the links below. That's all from me today. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to check out this other one that's popped up by now. For those who want to support the channel just a bit more, please consider subscribing. And if you're subscribed, check out that join button down below for my memberships, and maybe you'll see your name at the start or end of my next video. I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye.